Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Daryl Show Your Work. In this episode, we are going to be covering some patch management techniques. So, give just a high level overview of what patch management is. It's the process of managing updates for the software components and operating system kernels within, well, in this instance, Linux systems, but it also could be done in variations of operating systems. So we're going to start off by configuring Ansible software for automated patch management. And what Ansible is an open source automation tool used for IT tasks such as configuration management and then also application deployment, intraservice orchestration, and provisioning. But we're going to be using it for patch management. All right. So in order for us to get started with Ansible, we need to generate a SSH key pair on the server. All right. So in order to do that, we're going to do ssh dash keygen. Right. All right. And then I need to hit, because I'm not going to enter in any of this information. So I'm just going to go through it, and our key pair is generated. So then the next thing that I need to do is I need to copy the public SSH key to the client, which is it's going to be 102.168.1100 to allow password authentication. We'll see this later when we try to do a SSH connection. All right, so to get started on that, I am going to SSH dash copy. Specify the ID. All right, and then we're going to set that for this ubuntu-user dash ubuntu-user, and then we said it's going to be 192.168.1.100. All right. So just looking at my syntax here, make sure we're good to go. All right, so that this should copy this over. All right, I'm gonna tell it yes. All right, I give it my password. All right, it looks like that public key is transferred over to the SS was over to the client machine that we're trying to patch here. All right, so the next thing we have to do, we need to open up the Ansible host file, and we want to include the target machine within that file. All right, so of course we have to open up a file editor here, sudo nano. All right, and then it is located within the etc directory, and then the Ansible folder. All right, and the file name is simply hosts. All right, so we're going to open that up. All right, gotta give it my password again. All right, so we're in the file. All right, so I'm not going to edit anything like we've done in previous videos. I'm actually going to add some lines here. So I'm going to tell it. Start off with some brackets, and so our host name for I'm going to define the host name. The host name for the machine we're working with at that IP is going to be myclients, and then I'm going to close that bracket. And then on the next line, I'm going to specify exactly where my client is located. So I'm going to put client 1. And so the reason I'm making it plural in case we want to add more devices to this file at a later time. But for the sake of this lab, we're just going to work with one device. All right, so Ansible, and I'm going to define the Ansible host, which is at 192.168.1.100. 168.1.100. All right, and then I'm going to specify the Ansible user, which is, we said it was ubuntu-user. All right. So again, this line within the host file, it defines where the host is located and the default user. And so for now on, we can just simply write my clients because we've defined it here within the file. So I'm going to do Control X, Y to exit out. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do, I want to be able to see if we can we indeed what we did worked as far as adding this host to the host file, and want to see if we can ping it using our defined host name. All right. So remember, we define our host name as my client. So let's check that out. So we're going to now be using Ansible, and Ansible is going to be pulling from that host file and that's where it's knowing what my client is defined as. All right, I'm going to say I'm telling it to ping. All right. So let's see. And if it worked, we should get something telling us that we were successful. All right, so we look on the first line here, it says success, and then we received a reply back where we pinged, we got a pong back. All right, so that's indicative of a successful ping connection. All right, so the next thing we're going to be doing is creating a Ansible playbook. And what the Ansible playbook does, it provides a scriptable, repeatable, and easy to understand means of defining the infrastructure and application environments or processes. All right, you're going to see exactly what I mean by when I say that. All right, so the first thing, in order to get started on this, we have to go into our text editor again, but this time we're going to use it to create a playbook file. And this playbook file is going to check for updates in a language known as YAML. All right, so give me give me a minute here. Just want to make sure that I got us into the right place here. Right. Okay. All right. So in order to get started on that, um, we want to we basically want to tell the system when we open nano, we want to be able to tell us where to place tell the system where to place the file. So we want to say nano home ubuntu user. All right, and then we want to say check updates. This is what we're naming the file, YAML. All right, so we're going to store this file in our home directory, and I had to make sure that I had indeed had us in that directory before doing this. So I'm gonna hit enter, and this should open up an empty file. All right, so there's some lines that I need to write in here to save us some time. I have these already written out, and I'm going to paste them here into the into our open right now our empty YAML file. So I'm gonna paste that in. All right, so I'm going to explain to you what's going on here. All right, so this is basically what our you would call this overall. You would call this a play. All right, so since it's the playbook that we're making, this is the name of the play, which is update system packages, and this is where this play it's going to look for it's going to look to see if our packages are up to date um, within within this within Ansible or within this system overall. All right, so it's just going to automate that process and checking to see if everything is up to date. And if it does update the system, it automatically removes unnecessary packages from from the system. So we're creating more room and getting the legacy packages out of there. All right, so I'm going to exit and close this since I have that in here. All right, and then the next thing that we need to do, let's run this Ansible update playbook to see if it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So in order to do that, I'm gonna start up Ansible again, but this time I'm gonna say Ansible playbook to call the playbook, and remember we called this check updates, and it's in YAML format, which is a programming language. All right, and then I'm gonna say dash dash ask become pass. All right, it's asking for my password here, so I'm gonna enter that in. All right, so it looked like it did everything it was supposed to do as far as checking for those to see if everything was up to date and then remove the unnecessary legacy packages that's no longer needed in the system. All right, so that's about all we're going to cover as far as Ansible. But the next thing we want to do is we want to add this server now to our network, and we're going to use it by using a um, a um, a application known as Cockpit. All right, what Cockpit is, it's open source and it's a web-based GUI for managing Linux servers. So this is Linux specific, and so in order for us to begin working with it, we have to navigate to right. We got to navigate actually to our to where we're located, which is at 192.168.1.100. All right, then we're going to be no 100 is the target. I'm sorry, we're 101, and then we're working with port 9090. All right, I'm going to accept the risk here. All right, then we need to enter our credentials, which is ubuntu user. And then I'm entering my password. All right. So now I'm inside of Cockpit. So you can see it gives us some of our system information here. You know, basic information such as CPU and memory usage, things of that nature. So we want to add the server we've been working with to Cockpit here, so we can then start to manage it and make sure that we're adding the patches for it moving forward. So I went to, excuse me, so I just rushed through that. So over here, we're going to go to dashboard to the left, and then we're going to add the server by specifying it over here by clicking the blue plus button. All right. And then I'm going to tell it exactly give it the IP address of the server we want to add, which is 192.168.1.100. All right. Then once I'm done doing that, I'm gonna click add. All right. So you can see um, our newly added server here, which is in the green. So I'm gonna click on that. and it's just giving us basic information about the server, its current condition, its current configuration, and its system information, such as the model and the machine number and everything of that nature. All right, so now that we added the server, let's go back to the command line, and now let's try to do that passwordless connection to a user SSH. Remember, in the beginning of this lab, we uploaded our public key to the SSH server, so we should be able just to automatically establish a connection in there, since we have um, that um, that key pair created in the beginning. All right, so to do that, I'm gonna do SSH. All right, and then we want to do so as ubuntu-user, which is the default user. All right, and then we're going to log into 168, 100 now, since it's been added to the network. All right, it's still asking for it. Yeah, shouldn't have asked for it. Make sure I got my syntax right here. Yeah, it should not have asked us for a password. So I know we were successful. And let me just scroll back up just to double check that, make sure we were successful in uploading that public key. Yeah, number of keys added, 1. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why it still asks us for a password. All right, but we'll give it one anyway. All right, so okay. Let's see, make sure that I'm not goofing. I'm not goofing something up here with the command line. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to upload that public key again. All right, so let's see, I'm gonna do a ssh-copy-id. Then we're gonna do ubuntu-user. Let me see, at 192.168.1.100. All right, making sure I got everything right there. Okay. Yeah, saying already installed. Okay, so let's try to log in again. Okay, make sure I got that ssh ubuntu dash. That's where I messed up. Okay. Nope. Fat fingered it. Okay, I was gonna say, I know that should have just put us right in. Okay, I put Ubuntu server. All right, well I should have put Ubuntu. I see. Okay. My bad. So let's try again. Okay, now we're in. Okay. So that went exactly the way we wanted it to go. All right. So all right, going back to what we now need to do within the server here. Um, so we just basically added this server to Cockpit. So let's see what our current working directory is. So we know where we're working from. So we're gonna do pwd. All right. So now now that we have it added, have this added to the network, let's try to run an update on this just to make sure that all its current packages are up to date. All right. Well, this still requires a password, even though we're in. Okay. All right. So we're up to date. All right, so now we're going to, instead of having to do that manually every time, we're going to start configuring automatic updates to this server. So it's going to automate our patching process and start just automatically downloading those updates moving forward. So to do that, first we need to check if it's each check which packages are available for upgrade before enabling the automatic updates. So before we can even enable this, we have to see which packages does this particular device have that can actually be updated. All right, so we have to know that before we start modifying the file and turning things on and off. All right, so to do that, I'm gonna say sudo apt, say list, and then upgradable. All right, so this gives us a general list of everything within a device or within a server that could be upgraded. I'm not going to scroll through this whole list because it's pretty exhaustive, but you get the idea. So there's some things that already I just already know that I'm going to turn on in this file that we're going to be interacting with, which is the apt config file, and we're going to enable and configure some automatic updates within there. So in order to get started with that, I'm a sudo and nano to open up our text editor, and then the file that we're looking for is also in the etc directory, and it's apt, and it's go inside that folder, and it's apt dot config dot d. Then we go one folder up from that, and then it's going to be 20 auto upgrades. All right, and this is the file that we're going to be interacting with to turn some things or to turn some things on and set some parameters to for these automatic updates to start happening. All right, so right now where you see zeros, that means that it's these settings are set to off. So update package list. Right now, that automatic update is set to off. So we're going to turn it on by putting a one there, and then we're going to also turn on download upgradable packages. So we're going to automate that. All right, and then we're going to set the auto clean interval to 7. And then the unattended upgrade, that's already on. All right, so we're going to leave that alone. All right, and so now I'm gonna hit Control X and then yes to exit out. So now we have our automatic updates configured for this server that we just added to the network. All right, so then the last thing we're going to be working with here is the WP CLI, which is short for WordPress command line interface. And it's a powerful tool that allows our users to manage WordPress websites from the command line. All right, so let's run a few commands here just to do some simple tasks. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, let's get a list of all the running themes. All right, so I'm going to do WP theme list, and then I'm gonna tell it its location path is R V W W WordPress. All right. Make sure my syntax is good as far as what I have there. All right, let's hit enter. It should give me a list of all the current themes available on our WordPress site. All right, so you see, all right, there we have 4 themes. All right, one is active. All right, so let's say we wanted to enumerate our plugin list. All right, so let's do that. I'm gonna just go back here and I'm gonna just change a few things. All right, so just change theme to plugin. All right, and then let's see. I think this should still be good because the only thing I'm changing here is, oh, I do want to specify that I want a complete list of plugins. So I'm gonna also do a dash dash all. All right, hit enter. It should give us a complete list, and there you go. There's a complete list of plugins that we can that's available to us on our WordPress site. So the next thing that I want to do is I actually want to go to the WordPress site and log in as administrator. And there's some things that we're going to set up on the on the actual website. And all right, so let's expand that. All right, so we'll go to a different tab here, and then we're going to navigate to the actual um, device that we're interacting with, which again appears to be a web server since it's hosting this web page. All right, so we're gonna, and we are actually at 100 this time. All right, and then I'm going to specify that I want to go to the admin login page. Oh, great. All right, let's restart it. All right, let's try that again. Firefox had to update. All right. 192.168.1 oops dot 1 dot 100, and then we want to go to WP admin. All right, so let's enter in our credentials. All right, we're gonna go to remind me later on that. Okay, so now we're into the admin interface of our web site here. So I'm going to go over to appearance, and then I'm going to choose themes. All right, so we have a theme here called Reka Djokovic. I hope I'm saying that right, not butchering it. So we're going to go into theme details. All right, and then I'm going to click on right here. It says enable auto updates. I'm just going to enable auto updates on there. All right, and so it's going to keep then this theme up to date, so we don't have to keep manually going in and change it ourselves. And then again, the way we can just check on making sure that this is working right is exactly the method that we used before coming into the site, and it's just simply running the command just to see what our current themes are. All right, then we're going to go to the command line after this and see. Make sure I'm telling you right. We should be going to the command line after this and seeing some ways that we can see our update. I don't, matter of fact, I don't think we can do that here. All right, but I'll show you something on the command line to kind of get a good gist of what I'm referring to. All right, so then I'm gonna go down to plugins. All right, so here's our list of plugins. So then for all the bolded ones here, I'm going to click enable auto update. So it's going to automatically update. It says automatic updates scheduled every 5 hours. All right. So I did that for advanced custom fields. I'm going to do this for Beaver building plugin. I'm going to do it for classic widgets. Let's see. I'm going to do it for Jetpack, for one click demo import, for Webman templates, and WooCommerce. All right, let me see. Let me go back to the command line here and see if I can do what it was that I was saying. All right. Well, the one thing that I can show is that once we update the other version. So right now the current version is like, for instance, for WooCommerce is 3.3.5, and so it's showing us the update version. So once that auto update goes into effect, it should bring it up to date with the current version, which is seen here. um and the same thing here for the for the one active theme that we have here, it should do so there as well. And that brings us to the end of the video. To again summarize what we did here. All right, so first, we use Ansible to pretty much automate the patch management for this server, um, and then also after that we um, we added the server to Cockpit, which I'm sorry, we use Cockpit to add the server to our network. But right before then, we created an Ansible playbook to then be able to automate the um the um the update process. All right, so we don't have to then continue to then manually, apply patches and apply updates. It's already automated. And then we went into then once added to the network, then we went into the to the um, apt configuration file, and just made sure that the packages um, that are being downloaded to our server are up to date, and it's removing the legacy packages that no longer are necessary for our server to run on. And then we went in and we played around a little bit with the WordPress command line interface, just to see how we can enumerate some of the other features from the command line and be able to check what versions of like themes and plugins we're running. And then we went into the actual website and we set those automatic updates on from there, as far as our active theme and plugins that we are using. So that's going to be it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.